So what's up, guys? This is my 8th month update for MIA, AKATT, Immersion, Migaku, um, learning for Korean, and I'm going to talk about my SRS, my reading, my listening, my grammar, my mindset, everything I've been doing up till now. So I started with the SRS first. So as of now, I've done 5,103 cards. So that's all the cards I've actually made. And so that took me 163 hours in total. So in 8 months, that's less than an hour a day. So it's like about 45-50 minutes a day. But at the lowest, I've done like 10 cards a day. So that's like 15-20 minutes a day. But then at the peak, I've done like 50 new cards a day. So that adds up. So at that period, I think the total time was crazy. It was like I was spending like 1 hour and 45 minutes a day on just Anki. And like no one wants to do that. So obviously 25 is like a compromise. So of course it averages about to like 50 minutes a day. But it's not too bad. But you know what? I actually enjoy it. So it's okay. And now it's just 25 new cards a day, 100 to 120 reviews. It doesn't actually take that much time, because instead of trying to define every word, you actually get to just it's like the vibe. Because like I thought about it, it's like I don't know how to define a lot of words in English anyways. Like if someone asks me, oh, how do you define like I don't know what ambiguous, like of course I don't know what it means, right? So then I know if I know a word, and I don't know if I don't know a word. That's all I gotta do, because I have low-key Anki installed. So all I have to do is just press if I know it or don't know it. It's very, very simple. And so basically all I do is subs SRS with the YouTubes, and then all my web novels, I just throw everything into Anki. And with Anki I could just use the Morphman with the Rainus fork, and then it just spits everything out. But I found that depends on the material, but most of the time, about now, I found that about 80% of the new cards I put into Anki, Morphman shows me that about 80% of it is 0T cards. Like I already know them, so I think that's pretty good. So a lot of the vocab I'm mining now is kind of like, I wouldn't say it's like the core stuff, but I still feel it's quite important stuff anyways. So I found that I'm actually noticing the vocab that I rep in Anki. I'm actually noticing it in my immersion. So that only happened quite recently actually. So about month 0 to month 5, I was like what the fuck is this Anki for? It's useless. But then I found that recently I'm actually getting the carryover. So I'm actually finally seeing, like SRS actually works, but it actually takes time to accumulate. So you actually have to rep the cards. So maybe I think maybe once the cards are like very, very mature, then you'll start to notice them more. But as of now, I'm happy with how it is now. I think 25 cards a day is good, so I'm gonna keep it at that. Then grammar. So it says here I've done 23 hours worth of grammar in total. But what I mean grammar, I don't mean like conjugation exercise or making sentences. So in the last 240 days, I've done 23 hours of grammar study. So that's like 24 hours, right? Yeah. And so I finished like all the Talk to Me in Korean level 1 to 10. So I've just been reading through them, but I actually skipped a lot of the sentence drills and the advanced idiom stuff. I'm skipping because like it's not grammar anyways, right? And so I also finished the Korean grammar and use beginner and intermediate. Those were okay, about those just reading through anyways. So I tried to read the How to Study Korean, HTSK, but I just can't stand it. It's just not my cup of tea. So now I'm just reading the advanced KGIU, just for fun. It's a lot, some of the grammar points I'm like, what, I haven't seen it before, but I think might as well, because the way I rep cards is like I rep all my reviews first, then I have to wait for Morphman to calculate all the ordering of the cards, right? And so that takes like what, 6 to 7 minutes. So in that 6 to 7 minutes, right, I might as well make use of it and read grammar. So that's what I've been doing for my grammar study. I think I'll finish the KGIU Advanced like what, in like 2 to 3 months, because I'm only reading like 5 minutes a day, right? So maybe 6 to 8 weeks. I think I'll be done with it. But I mean, I still plan to reread the materials anyways, because like I have that gap in time to wait for Morphman to calculate, right? And so that takes like what? So I mean, I have that time anyways. So I think I might as well use it to go through the grammar. And I think all the how to mean Korean idioms, I'll probably make cards in the future, but I don't know. It's not too important for me, because I just hope I'll get it through Immersion. So then reading. So I've done 157 hours so far for reading. So I started reading quite late. So most people start month one, maybe day one they're already starting to actually read the graded readers and stuff, but I started very late. So I'd say I only started about 2 months after day one. So that's quite late, yeah. That's why my numbers aren't very high. So I only did 157 hours. And in the beginning, most of it was like 20-30 minutes a day. Because I hated it, So I started with the Yonsei readers, the 1 to 4. But it's not very compelling material, it's boring. The Yonsei stuff is very like, I won't say it's just a graded reader, you can't expect much from it. So I finished 1 to 4, and I think that I finished it like 1-2 months ago, and I recently started getting into the web novels. So I think it's about an hour and a half a day for web novels, but I found that I actually don't like it. Like, it's not like my goal. So of course, my initial goal was just to watch the K-pop content without subs, right? And so reading isn't my primary target goal at all. So this is more like the means to an end. So I don't really care about it, honestly. So I'm reading it just for the learning. So I'm not gonna read for like 2-3 hours a day. So I think 1 hour is pretty good. I've kept it up consistently for for a few weeks. So I think it's not too bad, because some of the stories are interesting. So the way I read is I just read through it. Whatever word sticks out, I just search it. So it's the very MIA way. But I feel the real struggle is finding good content, because not every web novel is good, and there's a lot of bad web teams anyways, right? Because people love to inflate the ratings and stuff, but most of it isn't very good. Like, let's be honest, like, people think, everything Korean is some holy entity and everything's perfect. No, most of their stuff is shit, honestly. That's the thing. So then most of the shit is boring anyway. So the real struggle is finding stuff that you actually want to read, because I personally can't grind through long text. I know some people love reading. They can just, like, most boring stuff, they can just go through it. But I mean, like, it's not my thing. Not my cup of tea, I just read just to learn. And so I mean, my comprehension is decent. Like, I can right now, if I didn't have a dictionary, I think I could probably just eventually, if I just through pure reading alone, I could learn vocab, because there's a lot of stuff because I think my passive vocab must have been expanding a lot from the reading, but of course, my reading speed is still slow. I think that's one thing I'm struggling with, because obviously the slower you read, the less stuff you go through, right? So I don't want to have to scroll through it slowly, but then at the same time, if I just skim, then obviously you can't find the words that you need to learn, right? So it's about finding that middle ground. But but nowadays I'm not even looking up that many words, which is quite surprising. So I think this is a huge sign of progress, because initially with the Yonsei readers, I had to look up like what it's like one word a line, Sometimes even, the entire line, I had no idea what the vocab was like. But then now with the web novels, I mean, I'm quite shocked that I've actually made it this far that I can read most of it without looking up words. But I mean, obviously I don't understand most of it, but I mean, like, I get the general structure of it, and I get most of the ideas, and I think that's more important anyways. So I can pick up stuff from context anyway. So it's not like I'm clueless or anything. So I'm semi literate. Okay, I'm not illiterate, but I'm semi literate in Korean now, which I think is good. I think it's really good. And I found that the more interesting the story is, the more comprehensible it is, which is quite interesting because I thought that, okay, the more I knew, the more vocab I knew, the more interesting it would be. But I found that that's just not true because there's a lot of those mini short stories I've read, which I had to look up a lot of words, but I kept going and I actually learned a lot more, and those are more comprehensible to me, rather than the words where I knew, where instead of the ones that I learned everything, but then it's not interesting. So it's about finding that content and sticking with it. So that's for reading. Now for listening, so this is the fun bit. So for my active immersion, so active means watching stuff or listening actively, I've done 667 hours. So 1 hour from 666, so that's fun. And then passive, I've done 202 hours. So in total, that's 868 hours of 869 hours of listening. So I think that's actually not some crazy hours. So that averages to about 100 hours a month. Which I mean, it's decent, but I mean, it's not like the AKATT. It's not like the AKATT numbers that people put, like the listening to Korean 16 hours a day even during your sleep. But obviously it's not my thing. But I mean, I found that actually my comprehension and how much time I put into it doesn't have a huge proportional gain. So what I mean is that there are months where I've done crazy amounts of active immersion. So there are months where I've done like 600. No, sorry. Some months where I've done like I don't know, 6 to 8 hours a day. And then some weeks I've done only 1 hour of active immersion a day. But I found that when I do a lot and when I do a little, it's not proportional. It's not proportional to how much my ability increases. So I think it's more about the average. So I don't have to focus on getting those crazy hours in, but I just got to keep going because I know eventually I'm going to get it anyways, right? It's not like I have to put in actually have to put in 10,000 hours, right? But I found that my comprehension for the actual material, and by comprehension I mean how much I understand, a lot of it depends on how focused I am. So obviously I suffer from a bit of insomnia anyways. So on a lot of bad sleeping days, I just can't understand some stuff. I mean, it's not like I can't understand. It's like it's foggy. But then some days when I've got my 8 to 9 hours in, then wow, everything's I've got 80 to 90% comprehension, if I'm well rested. But I mean, that's not every day. But I think that's not a big deal because ideally, even when you have 0 hours of sleep, you can still understand everything. I think that's probably the goal, is to increase the baseline rather than increasing your peak. And but one thing I'm a big proponent of is the hyperspeed listening. I mean, it's a fancy name, but basically it means listening to stuff faster than normal. Because I feel most people listen to content, at one point, at one time speed, which is normal speech, right? But then, I found that when I started using the hyperspeed listening, which is basically whatever you listen to, you listen to a little bit faster, so 1.1 times speed. So you listen. So there's a fine line between so fast that you can't understand everything, and just slow enough that you understand instantly, because you don't have to translate it into because Matt talked about it. You don't have to go from your target language to Mentalese to your native language, right? That's translation. You don't actually have to do that, because in your native language you don't do that anyways, right? So if you can just go fast enough that you don't have enough time to translate, you'll start training your brain to instantaneously get used to language, right? And so I'm trying to push that higher and higher. And so the faster I found that actually my biggest gain, so I actually see that the higher I can push my viewing speed at, it's a good indicator of my progress in the language. So I found that recently, whenever I see jumps in my comprehension, it's always when I'm listening at a faster speed. And so, I mean, obviously a good benefit of it is that you increase your language density, so you actually get more stuff into your brain, which is good in the same amount of time. So my goal is because right now I'm sitting at around like 1.2, 1.3 times watch speed. So I'm hoping to go over 1.5, because I mean I watch English content at like 3 to 4 times speed, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I think if I can push my Korean stuff to maybe even 2 times speed, I don't know, but at least 1.5 times speed, I think I'll be able to push a lot more language into my brain. And I found that when I watch stuff at regular speed, wow, it's it's like that bullet time effect in the Matrix. It's like everything's slow. It's so much comprehensible. But I mean, it's now I feel that everything's a waste of time. Like even the dramas I watch, it's at 1.25 times speed anyways. So in terms of my comprehension, I'm actually quite shocked, because like I've started watching dramas quite recently, and most of them obviously are just rom-com stuff, right? But I actually got the jokes. Like I've had so much fun watching it now, because I actually get a lot of jokes. Like it's actually entertainment now. It's no longer learning, but it's actually entertainment. And I think that's the path for that's the fun path. I'm finally actually enjoying the material. I think that that's the motivation. And so, but I mean, most of the time, it's like I don't get it. Like I cannot. It's like I know the vibe. It's like I have the vibe of it, but I don't know the exact words. But I know the vibe for it. I think it's better than having the translation, because I'm learning to actually feel the language rather than doing the very machine-like translation of the language, which I think is good. But I mean, in the past 8 months, most of my stuff has been K-pop related anyways, because that's my target goal anyways, right? So might as well just do what I set out to do anyways, right? Because that's the stuff that I care about. Most of it, it's like the official channel content, fan content, and then the variety show appearances. But I mean, variety is variety. I mean, and only recently I've started getting into dramas, because I started my first drama was Misang, but that was boring. It was honestly quite boring. Then I watched Itaewon Class, and that was Itaewon Class is like it left such a bad taste in my mouth. I actually forgot about it. So I actually forgot that I actually watched it. So yeah, that was my second one. Then the most recent one I finished was 편의점의 샛별이, I think. Yeah, 편의점의 샛별이. I don't know what's English for it. I don't remember the English for it. I think it was I think actually the one in Misang was it's like complex stuff about work, or there's a lot of stuff about the hierarchy of a corporation. There's complex stuff about trade agreements and stuff like that. Actually thought that if you think about it, that kind of drama, everyone had a perfect Seoul accent. Like everyone was like perfect accent, right? Because it's a realistic depiction of what work life is like, right? I assume, because everyone has a perfect accent, because everyone comes to like the top universities. But then actually that was actually supposed to be easier than the most recent one I watched. So 편의점의 Sipuri, because that one it was actually more difficult because you had a wide variety of accents. So you don't just have the standard Seoul. You have the what's it called, the Saturi, and then you have the people. You have old people, you have young people, and so that's actually more difficult. So I feel. But yeah, the whole thing about dramas is that most dramas aren't good. Like, I know it's gonna offend a lot of people, but most dramas just aren't that good, you know, because it's just like it's like what's another show? It's like it's like a, you know, what's that show? What's that show again? Keeping Up with the Kardashians. It's like the most trash reality TV. Like, it's like trash, right? But it's on air, right? It's there's like what it's like what I don't know 10 seasons worth of content. I don't know. But basically, like if someone was learning English and someone told them, oh, just watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, like no one would bother watching it, right? So that's the same thing. Most dramas are crap. Like, let's be honest, most of it is just boring. It's not entertaining. So the struggle is actually, you know, it's the same with web novels. It's about finding stuff that's interesting. So I think that's difficult because you know, I follow the, you know, the Krashen style of the Krashenist philosophy. So I'm only looking for stuff which is compelling. I don't really care if I don't understand it. I care more if I'm compelled, if the content's compelling. So I think that's the biggest problem. It's quite interesting because I recently watched another drama called what's it called again? Let's see, what's that? Sorry, I keep track of all my dramas. So the one is it's, I forgot what's it called. It's where is it? Lanjire Sonyoside. But it's a more recent one that I watched. I actually finished it yesterday, and I think it was a very short one. It's very boring, but I mean, one of the girl group members was the lead of it, so I watched it. Actually, that was a quite interesting experience because that drama was the first time it was set in Daegu. So everyone had, and it was like set like in the 70s, I think. So everyone had the accent, right? Everyone had the Saturi. But I mean, it was so fun because I mean, I was like, wow, I actually understand most of it, you know. And the cool thing was, I managed to pick up like some terms, right? And so instead of saying, so you know how people say where, right? In that drama, you know, everyone's saying wow. So at first I was like, what the hell does that mean, right? But then through immersion, which is crazy, like through immersion I understand, like they say stuff like wow, and I'll be, oh, that means where, and then they say kianna, that means kanchana, like that sort of stuff. So I think that was fun. I mean, like it was kind of like a mini experiment, but at the end of it I was like, wow, this stuff is crazy because I can pick up stuff like that. It's like, you know, I was actually repeating some of the phrases because I found it so amusing. So yeah, it was fun. And then but one thing I still absolutely hate is the old man, like old Korean man style of speaking. It's just so meaningless. It's like so incomprehensible because they talk like that's not a good Russian. They're like yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. And so I mean, like the president's name, it's like what's the dude's name again? Moon Jae-in. Basically, it's like how he talks, but turn it up, you know, 10 20 notches. Like it's just so incomprehensible to me. But you know what? I mean, I'll get it anyways. But it's okay. So that's what I've been doing. Yeah. That's what most of my content has been, like, for my active listening. But but of course, so that's right. And I found that actually it's quite interesting because Korean variety is like the way they do it is that they have all these huge graphics on screen. It's like someone can say one thing, so then you'll have like the subs, the Korean subs at the bottom. Then you'll have like a huge text, and they have all the text. It's it's very weird because like this, all the text of repeating stuff. You know, they have all the phrases here and there. So it's like you'll pick up a lot of stuff from reading the words on screen, right? But then in a drama, they don't have that stuff, right? And so I think from the time from my first drama to my to more recent ones, right? I had a gap of like, I don't know, I think it's at least 3 months where I only watch variety shows or YouTube content, and all of that stuff had, most of it, I'd say about 90% had the Korean subs, right? But then when I watched a drama without subs, I was like, wow, like I get it. Like I understand most of it. So it's like the Korean subs actually didn't affect my learning. So I'm just gonna keep on watching with Korean subs if it's possible, because you know, first of all, it's like that's how natives watch the content anyways, right? Because that's how it appears on TV. So like I might as well just watch it how a native would watch it anyways. But I mean, it's pretty cool that actually at the end of the day, it's just all a language anyways, right? So it doesn't matter how you get it into your brain, as long as you get it into your brain, it's gonna work anyways, right? And so yeah, that's a good conclusion of what I've done so far. So general goals and directions. So I think this is the year 2021. So I think by the end of this year I'll be, let me see. I think I'll be close to about 12k cards. At least 12k, maybe I think 13k cards. And I'll probably have done about total about 2,000 hours worth of listening. So I think my intensive phase will be done this year, right? And I think I can start shadowing in 2022, because I think, I mean, obviously I won't be perfect, right? I won't be fluent at all, but I'll reach a point where at least, because right now I'm actually really happy with where I am right now, honestly. So I think, wow, if this is how, if in 8 months I'm at a point like this, in 2 years, like there's no way I won't be close enough to my goal, right? I won't be close enough, right? So there's no way I won't be close enough. So I'm pretty sure by the time it's 2022, I can start doing some shadowing stuff. But to be honest with you, I don't really care about output. So I think it's quite funny, but because I've thought about it a lot. It's like my initial goal was to watch stuff without subs and maybe even do translation stuff, right? So my whole goal was never to output in the first place. Like I don't care about output, right? That's what I've thought about. So I shouldn't be trying to chase some arbitrary standard of speaking, because no one cares, because I don't care about it, right? Because like I only have like 3 Korean friends. They all speak perfect English, right? And I'm only gonna go to Korea like once every 3 years. I don't know. Maybe I'll go once and then never go back again. But I don't have much use for it anyways, right? So there's no reason to chase the whole speaking thing. I should just focus on comprehension, and then all I have to do is just keep on getting it. And then, I mean, I'm already close enough to my goal anyways, so there's no way it's gonna be bad anyways. So and I hope that I think maybe 2022 I can start doing I can also start doing subtitle work, because I think that was like my secondary goal, because there's a lot of small groups which don't have English subs, right? So that really sucks. So I mean, it'd be nice to give back to the community, because I've watched, I've had a lot of good luck with the subs. When I first started getting to K-pop, so all the stuff had subs anyways, right? But in with the stuff but there's still a lot of stuff without subs. So I hope I can give back to the community, help the fans of smaller groups get access to the good content. Let me see. And then maybe I'm interested in Japanese too. So I think everybody wants the big three, right? The big three of Chinese, Korean, and Japanese. But I have a reason for Japanese because the group Aizuan they have three three Japanese members, right? And so I didn't realize that the Japanese groups, they have so much more content because they actually used to have a TV show, right? So I realized, and then there's this other Japanese show called Night Scoop, which is like this detective reality show where they like investigate stuff. Like I actually realized that there's a lot of cool Japanese media too, so I'm quite interested in that. And so I've been doing the Tango N5 deck for doing 2 cards a day, but I mean it's 2 to 3 cards a day. It's not much, but I think that by the time by the time it's like late 2022, early 2023, I estimate. I mean it's a pretty accurate estimate, right? Like at that stage I'll be 30. Let me think. No, I'll be about 40 months into Korean, right? So there's no way I'll have to put in like the amount of effort that I'm putting in right now, so I can start getting to Japanese at that time. So then right now, my mindset right now, so what are my focuses right now is just focusing on the stuff I want to do. So my goal was always to watch K-pop content without the subs, right? So I need to focus on just doing what I love, because if you do what you love, you're not learning, right? You're doing the goal already, right? So I think that should be the goal, rather than trying to rather than just watching random shit just to learn the language. And then the mindset I need to have is to just focus on having fun, because I'm very confident right now that I'll reach my goal eventually, because I mean I've already seen the results, right? Like I've seen my comprehension increase rapidly in the last 8 months, which is a very short amount of time, looking at a human's entire lifespan, right? 8 months is not a lot of time. So I've seen that, wow, if my comprehension can jump so much, eventually in the near future, sometime in the near future, I'm going to reach 99.99% comprehension, right? And so and on the bright side anyways, like K-pop stuff is not like, wow, it's not some mind-shattering ethics philosophy stuff anyways, right? So I'll probably reach comprehension a lot faster than people who whose goal is to read comparative philosophy, right, in Korean. So I think, yeah, so that wraps up my 8 month update. I think I'll be doing these updates once every 2 months, I think, because I think on a month-to-month basis there won't be much changes for me. I probably won't have such a long update anymore, so I'll probably just do updates once every 2 to 3 months. So I'm hoping maybe my 10th month or maybe my 12th month I'll give another update. And thanks for listening, and keep immersing.